Lisa. Not Lisa. She stayed with it, and I told her she couldn't shoot any further out than a layup. But anyway, she became a second-team all-conference player. So whenever you need somebody, go down to Barabbas. I'd like to thank you all for coming over. It's really nice. First of all, I want to thank the principal, Mr. Williamson, right? I, of course, didn't work for him, but I've heard great things about him, and I'd like to thank him for allowing me to do this. It's a great honor. Secondly, I would like to thank all the principals that I did have before Mr. Williamson. They all taught, and of course, they all had me as a coach. And there's the last one that I had right there, Al Graziano, and Al was absolutely one of the best principals that ever worked at Lincoln High School. I liked them all, though. Those are the players that are involved with this tonight. Of course, played for me. The person who put this all together, Cara Graziano, relation right over there. Cara put this together, and she played on a team that when she was a junior, I believe it was, we went to state. And Cara, there was a lot of really good players on that team, so Cara didn't get to play much. So the next year, Cara not only got to play much, she was a starter. And we got into the conference schedule pretty good, and we played East High. And the first time we played them at home in the Roundhouse, and we beat them by about 12 or 13 points, I think. Well, what the coach over there at East High did was he went around recruiting as many players as he could throughout the city. He knows it, and I know it, and we all knew it. And he had two people, he claims he didn't, but he had two people that lived across the street from Valley. And what he did was he recruited them, and they were over 6 foot. But they were young, so the first time we played them, we beat them pretty bad. Well, the second time we played them over there at their house, and I was worried. And I should have been, because the game went to overtime. And it was really a nip-and-tuck game during overtime. And we finally got to about 10 seconds left, and we had the ball. So I took time out, and I had Kristen Turk, I had Rachel Mitchell, I had the big-time scorers on my team, and I said, I know what they're going to do. They're going to double-team them and not let them have the ball or something. So what we did was decided, Cara, you're going to shoot it. So we set a double pick for Cara. She got the ball just a little bit outside the free throw line and nailed it, and we won by 2. The important thing about was we needed to win that game to win the conference championship. So we went on and won the conference championship, so we have to thank Cara quite a bit. By the pole back there. It's amazing all the work that she did in this, in order to get this all together. She told me about it when she came over to ask me to come into the Hall of Fame. And of course, I can't leave out Kristen. Kristen, when she was a freshman, was a good, talented player even then. And that's why I brought her up to the varsity. I told her dad once, I said, you know, Kristen, she can shoot that ball. She can dribble down the floor. She's got dribble with both hands. I said, she can do all of those things. And I said, the only thing wrong with it is that every now and then she dribbles it down and throws it up in the stands. And so for that year, she didn't get to play a lot. She made 96 points on the year, but she didn't get a lot of playing time. But the next year, we played, and she became a starter. And of the 22 games that we had, she scored the most points on 16 games. The next year after that, she was our leading scorer for the entire season, 22 games. And there was one game where she wasn't the leading scorer. We went down to Ottumwa, and they decided not to double team her. They knew her reputation. So they triple teamed her. Not only did they help with 2 people on her, they would bring a third one down there. Well, what happened was Daniela Leo was the leading scorer for us, 22, and Kristen had all the assists. She had, how many? You had none. Yeah, Kristen had none. So the last year she was there, she did the same thing, except unbeknownst to me, the group got together and they decided that they were going to let Mallory Crane break the record for the most number of threes in a game. We were playing North, and we knew that we'd probably win. So every time everybody else got the ball, they would look for Mallory. And it really worked. Mallory got 9 3-point baskets, and Kristen wasn't the leading scorer on that one either. Mallory made 29 points total for that game. So other than that, she led the team for 3 years in scoring, and that was quite. So she belongs for sure in the Athletic Hall of Fame. The thing that I want to do is just thank the people that really were a major part of my coaching career, and that was my family, just as Kristen thanked her family. Al said when he took over to read or to talk about me, he said that in 1960 we moved to the South Side. I was an East Sider. I played at East and I played at Grandview, and I didn't play at Drake because I didn't think I was good enough. But I thought that I wanted to live where I taught. I didn't know I was going to coach for sure, but I wanted to live where I taught. And if I was going to be at a school, I thought it was going to be a good school because I was going to do everything I could to make that school as good as I could. So my children both went to Kurtz Junior High and to Lincoln High. And all of the time that I was there at Kurtz, and then when I went to Lincoln, I was sort of a dad in absentee. And the reason for that, and if you want to ask Coach Carl, he'll say the same thing. If you're going to coach, and if you're going to do it right, I believe you have to do it pretty much 24/7. And so when they were doing things, when my daughters were doing things and my wife wanted to do things, I was busy watching tapes. I was out scouting. I was trying to figure out, making plans for the next practice, trying to figure out what I could do to make this player better, what we could do for that player. It's something that every good coach has to do that. And Coach Carl will attest that that's what he believed too. So I'm really happy that they were able to put up with that. And I want to introduce each one of them to you. They both went to Lincoln High School and they both participated. First is my daughter, Shelly. Stand up, Shelly. All of these people that I'm going to introduce to you, every one of them was some type of an athlete. And most of them went to Lincoln High School. Shelly liked basketball, but she didn't like the coach. It wasn't me. She played in 9th grade, and she got put on a team where she had to play guard. And if you remember the 6-on-6 game, the most fun thing in basketball is to put the ball in the basket. But she didn't get to do that. She had to play guard all the time. I told her to tell the coach she could shoot because she did. But she was bashful. She didn't tell him, and I wasn't going to interfere with the coach. That's for sure. So what happened was she played in 10th grade for a little bit and decided she didn't like it. And so she went on to be on the drill team. She also played tennis at Lincoln. My second daughter was Tracy. Stand up, Tracy. Tracy was another 6-on-6 player. Tracy had the misfortune to have her dad as the coach. I told her all along, I said, you know, I'm going to have to be harder on you than anybody else because people are going to say, look, he lets his coach play. A little bit of what Mr. McCaffrey right now has a problem, doesn't he? He's playing for Iowa. His son's playing for him. So I asked her once, not too long after she got through playing for me, I said, Tracy, you understood that, didn't you? And she said, yeah, I understood, Dad. But she said, the only thing was, I didn't like it when you called me a dumb shit. And I can understand that. So, anyway, she played tennis too, and she went to Grandview on a scholarship and on basketball and tennis. My oldest daughter's husband is an athlete. He is a drag coach, drag racer. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be drag racing. And because he's the mechanic, so he takes care of me. Stan Livingston right there. And he and his son, Zach Livingston, also races. They share a car, and every year they're really in the top 4 or 5 in the for the season in racing down there at Eddyville. Tracy's husband, Steve DeVinny, he played basketball, football, and baseball in Marshalltown.
Go Steve!
He went on to Grandview and was an All-American in baseball. Woo! So, as you can see, we really like athletics in our family. My granddaughter, Stacy DeVinny, or Stacy Livingston, she couldn't be here tonight. She's a pharmacist and she lives in Minneapolis and St. Paul, and she got sick. So I wanted to talk to her, to you about her a little bit. She was on that team that was ranked number 7 in the nation. She was a point guard, and she was another devoted. And I never called her name like I called her mom or her aunt any time. Didn't ever call her that. Also, on my list of people that I need to thank was my wife. My wife passed away in 2000, and that's when I decided to quit coaching. And same thing for her. She was not an athlete, but she was a majorette over at East High School. And so that's still being pretty good with, you know, your hands and how to twirl that thing and throw it up in the air and so forth. But she was again, now that is an athlete, she again had to put up with all of my hours and hours and hours of paying attention to the basketball team. My grandson played basketball when he was in junior high, but he decided he didn't care for it that much. Stand up, Zach. Zach played basketball, but he decided he liked another sport even better, and he became a state champion. He was a person that was on the team for the bowlers of Lincoln High School when they won the state championship. So he's a state champion too. I have 3 people that I don't want you to boo. My other grandchildren, they unfortunately attended Downey. Molly is here with her fiance Jed. Stand up, Molly. Molly played against us. We had a picture in the paper that talked about how she had to play against her grandpa. I'm not sure, but if we were to look at all the games, I think Dowling probably won more than we did. But I don't know. Betsy, her sister lives in Seattle, so she couldn't be here, and she played for Dowling, and this is really good. she played for 3 years. In her 4th year, she's playing football in the gym and broke her leg, so she didn't even play basketball. So that was bad. And then finally, Luke, my grandson, he played baseball, basketball, and football over at Galley. And Luke went on to play at baseball at Eastern Michigan, and he was the top pitcher for Eastern Michigan Division I school these last 2 years at Eastern Michigan. So that's my family. I just wanted to say something about them because they had to make sacrifices in order for me to coach. I have to finish up with my latest love, my girlfriend, what should I call her, my partner. Now, she didn't play any sports. She went out for tennis over at East High, and the coach asked her, Judy, why haven't you been coming to practice? And she said, well, I had to do something that was more important than that. And he said, what? He said, well, I had to go home and watch Bandstand. All of the old people know what Bandstand was. She loved to dance, and she was into that kind of stuff. So that was her athleticism, was dancing. I have another table of her family over there. They all of the ones that are on her list of family were athletes at Lincoln too. Sean, stand up, Sean. Sean was a softball player at Lincoln. She pitched for Lincoln, a really good one. Mike, over there, stand up, Mike. Mike was a baseball pitcher for Lincoln, a good one. And finally, Joni, where's Joni? She's right here, she went to my school. Joni played softball, and she happens to be married to the voice of Iowa State sports, John Walters. John isn't going to make it, is he? He was out in TCU land, and so he got stuck on an airplane. He wanted to be here tonight too. So those are all the people that athletics meant a lot to, and that's my family. Again, I'd like to thank you, and I'd like to thank Lincoln High for this great honor. I hope I live long enough to enjoy it. But what I think is that I'll always remember the fact that basketball was number one, but I also love teaching in the classroom, Al. Thank you very much.